Are you subscribed to Chat Sports? I sure hope so. Go ahead, take that link below, youtube.com/chatsportstv, and start sending it to some of your friends because we go live every single Monday and Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. Let's get into today's mailbag. First question coming in is from KB73True. What would the Cowboys need to deal LVE? They say they're not interested. All right, so what would the Cowboys need to deal LVE? They say they're not interested. I guess I don't 100% understand what you mean, what the Cowboys need to deal. What kind of offer? A fifth-round pick? I mean, that's what I asked Tom Downey before. He said that he would accept a fifth-round pick. Actually, that was Jalen Smith, now that I think about it. For LVE, though, I mean, you just don't know what that man is. I mean, that neck injury, that scares the absolute bejesus out of me. And it's kind of, I shouldn't say it's kind of funny. It's really unfortunate because if you were a Cowboys fan just a few years ago, you're like, I got Leighton Vander Esch, I got Jalen Smith. I could have the best linebacking duo in the entire National Football League for the next 5-6 years. But now you're like, all right, I don't know necessarily what to do with Vander Esch. I mean, if I'm a team, he's good when he's on the field, but that neck, man, it scares me. I'm personally not going to offer up anything for him. I don't care who you voted for. Well, good. Who do you think starts quarterback in New Orleans? I'm going to go ahead and go with Jameis Winston just because I don't believe that Taysom Hill is a quarterback. He's an athlete. I mean, let's face it. He is an athlete, and he is a good athlete. However, I'm a believer that it's end up going to be Jameis Winston. So I don't have a lot of confidence in Winston. He's obviously a turnover machine. Maybe after the LASIK surgery, he'll be a little bit better. We just never know. But if you were to ask me, I am going to go ahead and go with Jameis Winston. So if you guys want to get your questions on the show, as a reminder, you got to use hashtag NFL, or you can go ahead and super chat. But before we get into more of those questions, I got a question for you. Who do you think ends up starting at quarterback for New Orleans? So if you think it's going to be Winston, I want you to type JW, and if you want to eat up some W's, let me know. And if you're going to go with Taysom Hill, type TH. I'm going to go with JW. It's just the route that I personally would go if I was Sean Payton in this offense. Now, if y'all got a question and you want to get featured on our show, the easiest way to do it is go ahead and hit that big red button underneath this video and subscribe. But I also want you to make sure that you got your notifications turned on, and it's really important this part of the off season. So we predicate ourselves on being an interactive YouTube channel. So if you go ahead and you turn on, or you go to your settings app, you scroll down and tap YouTube, tap notifications, and then turn on allow notifications. If you want a shout out on the next video that I do here at Chat Sports, then turn on your noties, because I want to give some love to Jacob Moore, Julian, Jeff, Mariners fan, and then Meet the McCains. Appreciate it. These were the people that commented first on our past 5 videos on our Chat Sports YouTube channel. So if you want to get featured on next week's show, go ahead, turn on your noties. All right, we got Barry DS coming up here on NFL Daily. Also, shout out to CJ DeYoung for the $2 super chat. Will Jamal Adams sign an extension before the start of the regular season? This is a tough question, right? When I think about Jamal Adams and how much he's going to want, I imagine he's going to want top 5 safety money. However, I just don't have him ranked as a top 5 safety, and actually PFF doesn't either. When they broke down their top, I believe it was like 25 safeties entering the year, they had him ranked as the 10th best guy just because he's horrible in coverage. I mean, let's face it, he is. But if they use him in the correct way, which they have been, especially putting him up in the box near the line of scrimmage, that's where he's the best. But in terms of paying him before the start of the season, I don't think that they're going to end up getting it done personally. So what do y'all think here? Is Jamal Adams a top 10 safety? I want you to type Y for yes, or I want you to go down in the comment section and type N for no. It's close. I am probably going to end up putting him as a top 10 safety, but he is a fringe guy. I will also say this, just because he's top 10 doesn't mean he's not overrated. Let's go to David Salama. Who are your top 6 wide receivers for fantasy points this upcoming season? Oh, boy. Top 10 receivers for fantasy. If Aaron Rodgers is in Green Bay, I'll go with Devontae Adams. I'll throw in DeAndre Hopkins in there. You can throw DK Metcalf in there as well. I'm trying to think of some of these other top receivers coming up. Tyreek Hill definitely deserves to be in there. I can't count right now off the top of my head, but is that top 5? I'm not 100% sure. But you know what? Those are definitely my top 4. Now, if you guys could, please go ahead and download the Newsbreak app. It's 100% free, and it's super useful. How do you do it? It's simple. Look down below. chatsports.com/newsbreak. Now, if you guys are on your phone, it's going to take you right to the App Store. You just click download the app, and then bingo, bango, you got it covered. The next thing that I want you to do, though, is go up into that search bar and search whoever your favorite team is, and then follow the show here by Chat Sports. If you guys are looking for exclusive content from us, if you just want more updates on, I don't know, what's going on the news-wise in your city, if you want to know what the weather's like, pop culture, like, this app has literally everything you could possibly imagine. So it doesn't matter if you live in Dallas like I do, if you live in Las Vegas, Oakland, Chicago, whatever your zip code is, this app is applicable for you. Wow, look at me, new words. Local news, weather, politics, food, pop culture, sports content, all in one tiny little app. It's called Newsbreak. So go ahead and download it at chatsports.com/newsbreak. The reason why you have to use that app, so we get credit. Just being honest with you. Again, chatsports.com/newsbreak. All right, next one's coming in here from PS4 VR, The New Frontier. Can the Chiefs win a Super Bowl with their current cornerback situation, or do they need another good cornerback? Can the Chiefs win a Super Bowl? Absolutely they can. Not to say that the cornerback position's not important. However, as long as you got Patrick Mahomes and as long as that offense is as legit as it is, the bigger question is this. Can they win a Super Bowl with their offensive line and the current status that it's in? Because we saw in the Super Bowl, it was really, really rough. It was just an absolute turnstile. And if Mahomes doesn't have time to throw, I mean, it gets ugly really, really quick. So I'd say offensive line is actually a bigger concern than the cornerback room. CJ DeYoung, what up, my man? What about Gilmore to the Cowboys? So first off, if you're a Cowboys fan, go check out our Dallas Cowboys channel on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CowboysTV. Can't even believe they're getting close to 100,000 subs. That's pretty baller right there. In terms of Gilmore to Dallas, I think it actually makes sense for the Cowboys because they still need a number one lockdown cornerback. Money-wise, I think they could be able to make it work. And for Dallas, I mean, you're talking about one of the worst defenses in the league last year. Now, it got a little bit better. There's no doubt about that. You hired a new defensive coordinator in Dan Quinn, but Quinn seems to just want to bring in all his old Falcons fans or all his old Falcons players. But I think it actually makes sense for both sides personally. So if you guys want to go ahead and get your questions on the show again, you can use hashtag NFL or you can super chat like Burn and Spades did. Shout out, y'all. Happy hump day. Late to the show, my kids wanted to watch the show together. Did we miss any updates on Atlanta cap, trade, signing, etc.? Well, how about this, Burn and Spades? If you could, I know you're already subscribed, but some other people might not be to our Falcons channel, youtube.com/FalconsTV. But we didn't really talk much about Atlanta. We talked about Julio Jones, but nothing really too glaring there. Julio's going to get traded. I mean, I don't know when, but it's ultimately going to happen. Now, if we didn't get to your question on today's show, you can always hit me up on IG. I'm at MitchellRens365. My DMs are open for a reason because I'm not afraid to talk to you guys about your favorite team. If you want to talk to me about fantasy football, that's probably my specialty, so I'm just being real with y'all. Fantasy football, NFL, Raiders related, hit me up at MitchellRens365. This question is coming in from Homer Hammers. Will the Honey Badgers sign an extension before week 1? Another good question here, and it kind of ties into the question that I answered actually a little bit earlier on about Jamal Adams and his extension. Here's the thing. If you're, the Kansas City Chiefs and you plan on extending Mathieu, you got to do it before Jamal Adams. And if you're the Seahawks and you want to extend Adams, you got to do it before the Honey Badger ends up, extending his. I mean, if I'm the Chiefs, I go ahead and do it. And the biggest reason is this. You have a Super Bowl window, and as long as Patrick Mahomes is there, maybe their Super Bowl window is forever. But if you have a solid player and you can do it, I think you go ahead and do it. Now, he was the 11th best safety according to Pro Football Focus last year. Some of his numbers might be, a little bit inflated because teams were always throwing on him. That's what the 6 INTs were. But he's still a super dynamic player. But I am going to ask you all this. Between Jamal Adams and Tyrann Mathieu, who's the better safety? If you think it's Adams, type JA. If you think it's the Honey Badger, I want you to type TM. My vote, I am going to go with TM. I get what Adams is, and he is a good player in his certain scheme. However, I believe Mathieu can play in a lot of different other schemes, and he's a lot more versatile. So for that reason, I'm going to disagree with PFF, and I'm going to go with TM. All right, we got Bam Troll. Vikings were confirmed trying to trade up to number 8 in the draft, most likely for Fields. How would you feel if that happened? I mean, I think Justin Fields would definitely be a clear upgrade over Kirk Cousins because Cousins, to me, he's underappreciated, but he's also a quarterback to me where you know exactly what you're going to get. And I actually don't think Minnesota can ever win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. And if you're an NFL team out there and you don't have a quarterback that you believe can win a Super Bowl with, you got to get drastic. You got to start doing some other things. Now, with this team that they have currently, I don't even know if they have still even a good enough roster, even if Fields would have been drafted. But I saw the report too, and I do think it could be bad news for Kirk Cousins coming up in a few years. Maybe they shouldn't have given him all the money, and maybe they should have used some of that money to keep and retain other players on their offense. Who knows? We got authentical football highlights. Is Tua going to do good next season? Tua is a hard player to be able to wrap my mind around. So if you look at Chris Sims' quarterback rankings, Sims actually had him ranked 34th out of 40. Not very good, right? But Tua also has very high upside to me. And if you haven't already seen my video on the Dolphins channel, go check it out, youtube.com/DolphinsNews, where I say, like, it wouldn't surprise me if Tua was, like, the biggest dark horse MVP candidate, because we've seen quarterbacks take that step in year 2. We saw Lamar do it. We saw Patrick Mahomes do it. And if he's fully healthy, which it sounds he is, 2020 was a shit year because he couldn't work with a lot of his players. He's doing a lot of the right things. Miami put a ton of talent around him. So do I think he's going to have a good year? Yes, I do. He could also have a bad year. Like, I literally think his ceiling and floor is probably one of the biggest out of all starting quarterbacks in the entire league. But he has the ceiling to have a very good year, especially with all the talent around him.